William Ruto isn't the first Kenyan president to be given a nickname, but he has certainly racked up the most. And if that sounds like a sign of popularity, that every nickname is a mark of affection, think again. More often than not, it's how Kenyans take potshots at their president.
This man started off getting names when he was deputy president. And the most famous name was Arap Mashamba. Arap is son of, and Mashamba is land. Son of land, not really son of land as such, but somebody who grabs land.
Zakayo is a figure in the Bible who was a tax collector. Zakayo is a nickname that was given to Ruto in relation to the first moves that he made when he became president was to increase taxes.
El Chapo, it was the time that he was promising to provide chapatis, which is a form of bread for Kenyan school children.
William Ruto has spent more than 3 decades climbing Kenya's political ladder. For years, he sold himself as the hustler, a savvy outsider who could shake up the system.
Why do you call yourself the hustler in chief?
Because I am. I am the hustler in chief.
Since taking office in 2022, Ruto's government has raised taxes, borrowed heavily, and presided over a deepening cost of living crisis. It left Kenyans feeling hustled and earned Ruto the nickname Kusongo, borrowed from the 1980s song about a man who abandons his family.
The speed at which the nicknames are coming is reflective of the speed at which politics is transforming in the country. The presidency makes a decision and the public responds by calling them out, by calling him out, but they're not able to do it directly. They have to find a way of doing that that is humorous, that can sort of stay ahead of the anger and the wrath and the possible retribution.
I've used nicknames throughout my career as a cartoonist to kind of protect myself from accusations of libel or public slander. In the recent past, I've also kind of intensified my use of just adopting what the public is offering. Remember, you cannot protest every day. So society will still keep up the heat. The only way they can do so is through labeling him with names.
Humor is usually a product of absurdity when there's a clash or a contradiction between what is real and what somebody is talking about. So that contradiction is what is captured by the nicknames. It's a reaction to lack of trust and just being fatigued by how much the president is telling us he's going to do this, he's going to do the other, and then it's not done.
The use of humor to challenge power isn't new. It's part of a long tradition, one that galvanized under Daniel Arap Moi, considered by many to be Kenya's last dictator. He ruled under the slogan Nyayo, footsteps, a promise to follow in the path of his predecessor Jomo Kenyatta, the country's first leader post-independence. But as Moi's rule grew more authoritarian, Nyayo turned into a nickname with a meaning closer to trample than footsteps. Nicknames that pack a punch while giving a measure of protection extend far beyond Kenya's borders. In Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is mockingly called T-Pain, a jab at his painful austerity policies.
Who is suffering in the building? And can't see and don't suffocate us in the building.
In Uganda, Finance Minister Matia Kasaija is dubbed as Minister of Enjoyment for laughing off the country's economic crisis.
Colleagues, money will come.
And in Tanzania, after the recent crackdown following the disputed election, President Samia Suluhu Hassan was nicknamed Idi Amin Mama, a reference to Uganda's infamous dictator Idi Amin. Across the continent, catchy nicknames are cutting inflated egos down to size.
It's important to remember that the figures of the executive in a lot of African countries are building on these long tradition of this quasi-godlike figure who should not be challenged, who should not be undermined. Giving the political figure a nickname is a way of looking directly at the sun, is a way of bringing the sun down to earth, is a way of bringing that powerful executive figure back down to earth.
What is so striking about this particular era is the disconnect between the African leaders and the youth. And the only way to capture that absurdity is through nicknames. And that's what the young people are doing.
Last year, youth anger over new taxes and government excesses grew online until it spilt over onto the streets. The government responded with a brutal crackdown, mass arrests, abductions, and online surveillance. By the end of the year, more than 60 people had been killed. The media were targeted as well. Stations critical of the president were threatened with closure. Protest coverage was banned and reporters threatened. But where the government can squeeze traditional information spaces, online ridicule is harder to reach, and so Ruto earned himself a new wave of nicknames. Gathinji, the butcher, Must Go, a call for the end of Ruto's presidency, and One Tum, a prediction that Ruto will only serve one term.
The nicknames One Tum and Must Go are different because they are a call to action. It's an invocation of a broader political project, of a broader political ambition. Kenyans online are probably one of the most organized and vocal national constituencies, I would say, in the world. This is a digital constituency that has bullied former President Kenyatta II so much on social media that he deleted his social media accounts.
Hata Twitter munaona na hiyo, mimi niliondoka huko. Ngaona hii kitu ni bure, ni matusi tu.
What was so striking about the Moi era was the silence. There were so few people speaking. But now when you speak on the internet, you have immediate interaction with the public. You have people sharing what you're saying. I think it's also the Kenya government as a whole does not know what to do with a well-informed, vocal population with access to the internet.
We requested an interview from the president's office but got no response. Having failed to quash the nicknames, Ruto has since tried to co-opt them. He now dances to Kasongo, the song about the man who abandons his dependents. He laughs off Zakayo, the biblical tax collector.
Na kwanza Zakayo ndio aliona Mungu alimtembelea. Sasa wewe ujakuwa Zakayo utatembelewa na Mungu namna gani?
And he's even trying to flip one tum, one term, into one more tum, one more term. But will it work? Unlikely, because good satire rarely flows down from power. It rises up from the people, from those who turn frustration into laughter and laughter into defiance.
When I was a kid in elementary school, other kids used to call me the big-eyed one. And it really bothered me for a while until I told myself, but anyway, I can't do anything about my eyes. And they became my signature in my work, and I'm recognized for that. So Ruto is using basically the same kind of thing. It's a way to kind of brush off the ridicule, throw some of the ridicule back at you.
One reason why Ruto embraces the nicknames is that he's trying to take power from them. By laughing at the joke, by showing that he's in on the joke, that it doesn't hurt him, trying to reduce the impact of the joke. It almost does the opposite. I think it almost says to the public that we know that you're listening now, that you are actually paying attention to things that we say about them.
The Kenyan elite have become so mediocre, they have nothing that is original. And so what they are doing is copycatting or mimicking the young people. I think there's a hunger and a thirst among young people to understand why we are where we are. It's a thirst that I had not seen in young people. The current generation that is drawing a lot of empowerment and solidarity and creativity from laughter will eventually graduate to political creativity that will result in fundamental change. And that's why that kind of mimicry will not work.
Thank you for watching. Hit that like button and leave us a comment to let us know what you thought about anything we covered this week. And don't forget to follow us on social media. The links are in the description, and you can also subscribe to our newsletter for updates from the show.